Hey guys, it's Stacy here. Welcome to my channel, Life's a Project. So today I thought it'd be fun to give you an update on my containers that I planted up in past projects so far this spring. Now, if you remember back, I planted both annual and perennial plants, as well as I've sown some flower seeds in containers. Now, once a week, James and I cut our grass, and that includes trimming and edging. And to keep these plants from getting covered with those grass clippings, we kind of gather up these smaller containers and place them on this trailer to kind of give them that protection. And while I'm at it, I go ahead and kind of check them over, do a little deadheading and deep watering, and when we're finished with the yard work, I'll place them back where they go. So since I had some of these containers all rounded up, I thought it'd be fun to give you an update, starting with a beautiful container here full of pansies. And this is one of the containers of the 3 that I planted up around mid-March, full of pansies, daffodils, and a ranunculus. So this first one here, these yellow pansies, I love them in this little bucket that I purchased from Hobby Lobby a couple of years ago. Drilled holes in the bottom. I just love to use it as a little hanging planter around my mailbox area. It's just a beautiful pop of yellow color. And in this container, the same thing, planted these purple and white pansies in this little metal bucket that matches the first one, but I also planted a yellow ranunculus in this one. And that ranunculus, it looked good for a while, but they really started to look not that great. So I did pull them and allow the pansies just to kind of do their thing and take over that container, and they really filled it in nicely. I'm really happy with it. So the last container for this project is on the end, so I'll share that one with you in just a moment. But first, take a look at this beautiful plant. It is called October Daphne Stonecrop Sedum. It is gorgeous, one of my favorites. It's like tripled in size since planting it and doing this project the end of April, and I just love the color. I love that little touch of pink. It's just so beautiful. It just keeps getting better and better and bigger. So really happy with this plant. It's a perennial, and guys, go back and check out these project videos if you'd like to see more information on these plants. I do talk about them more in those videos. So later on in the season, this plant should produce some pink flowers that I think will make a beautiful fall display. So I'm really excited to see that later on. So guys, if you'd like to try a plant that's low maintenance, that looks good all the time, you got to give this one a try. Now, speaking of looking good all of the time, these next 2 containers, I just love them. This first one here is called Red Lightning. It's a Heuchera, and I just love Heucheras. To me, they do look good all of the time. Now, this one had a rough go the first 2 weeks after I planted it in this container. I noticed it got aphids really bad, and it really did not like the location that I placed it. It really needed to be in a more shady location, so I did have to move it. I did have to cut those scorched leaves off, and I did have to spray it really well, first with water to kind of knock those aphids off. Sprayed it really well with some neem oil, and that did the trick. There's not an aphid in sight, and after placing it in a shady location, it was able to bounce back, and it's looking really good now. So next, this container is one of my favorite plant combinations so far. I just love the beautiful kind of fuzzy texture and look to these 2 plants and just their beautiful contrast in color. I started by putting this Rosemary in the center and 4 Dusty Miller around the edges, and you can see how much they have grown in. I've done this project, it was over a month ago, so they are kind of slower growing plants, but that color combination of that kind of sage green of the rosemary and that white blue gray of the Dusty Miller, I just think looks gorgeous together and looks so kind of calming and just pleasing to the eye. So I just love it. I could really have this combination in a larger container and just love it. And these 2 plants are a perennial in my area, Kentucky Zone 6. So a lot of times they are grown as annuals, but we shall see. I could see if they could survive our winter and grow for me next year. So here is the other pansy container that I planted up in the spring with 1 container of the purple and white pansies, and I put 2 containers of these miniature daffodils, and when they bloomed out, they looked so beautiful. And once those daffodils, they were spent, I just left that foliage on there to start to yellow and die back. Once it dies back, I just cut that foliage off at soil level. So those bulbs are still in the soil, but I just let those pansies just kind of do their thing and fill in there and get really full. So you can see in the back that there is a little less growth of the pansies there, and that is where the daffodils were. And like I said, I try to keep those pansies that have the spent blooms cleared out to make room for the new growth. So now I want to share with you a couple of really early spring projects I did using my self-watering containers. So let's go take a look. Now this project at the beginning of April, you may remember when I planted some California poppy seeds in 2 of my 18-inch self-watering containers by Crescent Garden. And you can see what this one looks like now. It's a little wild and crazy, but I like it. It's probably so full because I did not thin out the seedlings, but I just let them do their thing. But I really have enjoyed it. Now, if you remember, I planted 2, so the one over here was just getting too much shade from the house. It was not getting enough sun in this location. It was really behind with the growth, so I did have to move it a few steps away down here on the walkway. And you can see it's starting to catch up. It's not as big and full, but it will start to fill in. It has filled in so much over the past few weeks. So down here you can see it is starting to produce some flowers. Now the only bummer with this project, if you remember, I planted this spring melody blend. It was supposed to have different colors, and as you can see, I'm getting all of the same color. So that is a little bit of a disappointment. But you know, what do you do? So now it's on to the last project update. So guys, here is my favorite container so far this season. I could not do a container update video without sharing with you how this container is looking now. Now I know in 2 past videos I shared with you how I transplanted 4 of my Heucheras into this large self-watering container. This one is also by Crescent Garden, just in the 26-inch size, and these plants have just done so well in here. You can see they've just mounted up, put on so much more growth. Now I shared with you an update when they was filling in and how I had to kind of pinch back the flower stalks because I like a kind of uniform, kind of tidy look. So I just wanted to share with you how they're looking now. Like I said, Heucheras, they just look good all the time. So guys, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. That really does help my channel. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.